What's happening, everybody? Goose! What's going on, buddy? How's everybody doing today? I don't have as long as I was hoping to have the stream today. Of course, when you start early, everybody thinks that means you got more time to sit around and chit-chat. And I do like to chat. So here we are on a little bit shorter stream. We might have to do a two-part one on this just because of the confusion that comes along with where everything is placed on the political spectrum and what that actually means and why it's being manipulated to show what it's showing. The political spectrum, anybody that went to school more than 10 years ago knows that the political spectrum up until recently has been designed as a straight line with one side being far left, one side being far right, and all of the political ideologies in between. And there was a very clear definition of where everything was and what it all meant. And for some reason, recently, people have decided to start changing where certain things go on the political spectrum. And it's evident that they haven't completely decided on where all that stuff could go with just a simple Google search, looking at the different images that come up that show the political spectrum. Everything from a cross to a horseshoe to a circle to a straight line with the placement of different Liberty Snake Bear, with the placement of different political ideologies in different places on each one of those images that you find. Robot Bear, what's happening? Who else slipped in here? All right. So the changing of the political spectrum and where things fall on it, I think is pretty evident without having to be too conspiratorial with it. Sounds good, Kodiak. Without being too conspiratorial about where things are and who's been moving them around, it's pretty evident that one particular side is trying to limit the amount of negative on their side. Bayou Bandit, what's happening? And who else is in there? They're trying to limit the amount of negativity on their side and share some of that on the other side. And the problem is with a simple dive into definitions and descriptions of political ideologies, it's not that difficult to see where all the nastiness is and where all the starvation and genocide occurs and where actually the balance and best, largest amount of good for the largest amount of people actually lies. The term fascist gets bandied about around a lot on the right, especially recently within the last couple of years with the birth of the Donald Trump era. And it's absolutely hilarious because it's trying to tie the right to a villainous side. That's why Trump was called a Nazi, or still is called a Nazi. Alt-right people are often referred to as Nazis or fascists, when in all actuality, with like I said, a simple dive into the definition of fascism, it's not difficult to see exactly where it's at. The definition of fascism is a radical authoritarianism with dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition, regimentation of society and the economy, and it gained popularity in the early 20th century. You know, what happened around the early 20th? Thanks, I appreciate that. Goose, appreciate that. And then who else jumped in here? Gray Dude, what's happening? So the political spectrum, that was the definition of fascism, and I'll let you guys decide where you think that fascism should wind up on the political spectrum. Now, I think everybody agrees, regardless of your ideology, where communism is most commonly. Why do I keep getting phone calls during my stream? It doesn't work. So the left, analog bear. So I think most political ideologies will agree that the farthest point on the left of the spectrum is communism. I think everybody can agree with that. So a lot of people, Dom, what's going on? Go Vikes. So the political right has been kind of pigeonholed with this term fascism as being a right-leaning political ideology. I just read you the definition. And again, that's a form of radical authoritarianism with dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition, regimentation of society and the economy that was established in the early 20th century. Monarchy isn't technically a political ideology. See, here's where a lot of the confusion comes in. There's actually only a few points that are actual political ideologies. And dictatorships, monarchies, things of that nature are descriptions of the type of leadership within a political ideology. The political ideologies are communism, socialism, fascism, progressivism, democracy, constitutional republic, theocracy, and anarchism. So if we've established that communism is on the far left, it's as far to the left as you can go. Communism is the government control of every single aspect of your life, not only the means of production, but also the distribution of resources, right down to day-to-day life, even so much as what you can do for a job, what you're getting paid within that job. I don't agree with the three axes. I believe that the political spectrum is a straight line. I believe that different ideologies can intersect at the same point on that straight line, but the political ideological spectrum is a straight line. And the reason I say that is because, okay, we've got communism on the far left. So what is the exact opposite of communism? If communism is total government, total, absolutely no free will, no choice, no individualism, all of it is the state and collectivism. It's been described as you're a cell in a single body when it comes to, exactly, Goose, thank you. You're a single cell in a greater body in communism, and alone you are nothing. You can't survive, but with the greater body you are together. And anarchism is the exact opposite of that. Anarchism is the complete absolutely no government. There is no government. You're on your own devices. It laws governing collective overseeing group that helps the society along. Anarchism is the complete and utter absence of voluntarism. Okay, that one I'm going to have to look up because that one I don't know. That's the Verizon boogeyman telling me I'm way over my data, so they're going to throttle me back on my usage. Sorry. It may happen once or twice again here, but we'll get through it. So, 100% coercion and anarchy is zero coercion. That's exactly right. Not only coercion, but it's the overwhelming presence of free will, lack of free will. Anarchism is the overwhelming everything in anarchism is individual and of self. There is no, the only laws you follow, the laws you create yourself, and no one else follows your laws. Your laws are individual self. Communism is everyone follows the one law that is the law of the land, and there is no deviation from that. Okay, so if new word from liberalism, that's a possibility too. Like I said, I haven't heard that one. I'm going to have to look that up. But okay, so if we've got communism is the complete presence, the overwhelming presence of government, and anarchism is the complete lack of government. I'm going to read the definition of fascism one more time. The radical authoritarianism with dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition, regimentation of economy. Okay, and that I did research that definition on several sites, and they all basically say exactly the same thing. And that is the standardized definition. Now, how can anybody think that that is even close to center, let alone right of center? That is as close to communism as you can get. Forcible suppression of opposition, regimentation of society and the economy. It's a complete presence of government. The reason that it's been said that it's on the right, again, is, like I said earlier, that it is a way for individuals to demonize those on the right, because actually there's room to demonize on the right. Some of the ideologies, including anarchism, I don't agree with anarchism at all. I don't think a society can survive under anarchical ideologies. It'd be everyone for themselves. There is no free market in anarchism. There is no, it's all just chaos all the time. And that's not healthy for a society either. So anarchism could be demonized just as easily. But fascism is so far from the right that it makes progressivism look timid. Okay, so we've got it established where fascism is. Can anybody else tell me what's right in the middle? Can you tell me what's right in the middle of the political spectrum? I'll give you a hint. It's what a lot of people think we are, but we're not. It's democracy. Yeah, I know. Spinning wheel of death. That's the Verizon overlords telling me I've used too much data this month, so they're gonna deprioritize. Are we back? Sort of back? Okay. Well, if this doesn't work out, then I'll wait and I'll pick this one up tonight at home when I can get on the Wi-Fi. I know what it has to do with. It's completely has to do with. Yep. No. Democracy is mob rule, but it's. You see 8-bit, 8-bit pig rigging. I feel like I'm on, what's that game my kids play, Roblox. But the right, left, false dichotomy. Libertarian is on the right, but it's not far right by any stretch. Libertarian is more closely aligned with the center, and where democracy is slightly to the right of a democratic republic, which is slightly to the right of a democracy. Democracy can be contrived as mob rule. It can also be, again, this boils down to what kind of leadership there is within the democracy, and the moral values that are shared within the democracy. If the moral values are low, if the moral values of a democracy are low, it it's likely that it's going to be mob rule. But if the moral values that are shared among the democracy are high, a democracy can be an acceptable method of government, political ideology. Liberals and conservatives are all. Libertarians and conservatives are very much alike. There was a online test that I took several years ago now that was I can't remember the group that put it together, but it was, you answered 50 questions, and you could, in each question you could expand it to ask more questions to get more detailed on certain subjects. But it decided where you fell ideologically. That it's I aligned 98% with conservatism, but only 70%